Now, you may or may not know that this year things were a little different than in previous years. This year, 5 special stages were marked out on completely separate routes with motorcycles and quad bikes on the one hand and cars and trucks on the other. And the gents that took on the motorcycle route are here right with us. We've got Brett Cummings, we've got Rian van Niekerk, Daryl Curtis, not as a rider, and Dave Reeves from Zambia. So guys, obviously it's very different on bikes than on cars, just looking at the amount of broken legs here. We've got a 50% strike rate, Daryl with a broken leg and Dave with a broken leg. So Dave, maybe we should start at you. What is the story with that leg there?
Yeah, man, you know, last year I broke my leg on the second or third last stage, and so this year I really had a plan to get to the finish line. And unfortunately, I had a fall on day 3, and I dislocated my leg pretty badly, and it went back in, and I pretty much wanted to carry on, but my mate Brett stopped and helped me, and as I was getting on the bike again, really the leg just popped out again, and I dislocated my thumb as well. And
sounds like a war zone. Typical biker, he breaks a leg and he wants to get back on the bike. Maybe I should just ask Daryl, who this year did not compete. Daryl, you've done a few Dakars, you've taken your experience this time as a team manager for the KTM Broadlink team. What did that entail?
Well, that's right. And I looked after Rian this year, and it's so difficult being, having to do all the marketing and media and ride and focus on your race at the same time. So I took all that pressure off Rian. He had to focus on preparing for the race and actually racing. And I took all the rest of the pressure off him. Okay, and maybe time to get to Rian. Rian, your second Dakar, and obviously a very good result, 12th overall.
Yeah, I'm very happy with my result. You know, the competition is quite stiff in Dakar, and you need to have a flawless 2 weeks of racing. You know, I had some issues in the beginning of the event, but you know, I'm quite satisfied with where I ended up.
Guys, just tell us, how different is it on a bike than in a car? You know, the guys on the cars can, we know it's tough, they spend long hours in the car, they do open sections and then a 400 or 500 kilometer special. You guys got to ride the bike the whole day. I mean, you can't sit back when you're not racing on the open sections even. You still got to ride the bike over the Andes where there's no oxygen. Tell us, how tough is that?
Yes, definitely it's a lot more difficult on a motorcycle. You know, in a car, at least you protected from the elements of weather, wind and rain. So on a motorcycle, you have to get up in the morning. We leave it around 4:30 in the morning. You have to do a liaison on, let's say, 300 kilometers all on your own. So the navigator on a car can fall asleep, or you know, you can take a rest.
Well, at least they've got a bit of company. It's all you and yourself inside your helmet.
You're sitting on a bike, and most mornings were fairly chilly. So when you're cold, crimped up behind the bike, you do want to fall asleep, but somehow you try and keep awake until you get to the special stage. So definitely on a motorcycle, it's more difficult. And we have a different route to the car, so they make it more technical for the motorcycle, so it's more physically demanding, and I think the days take its toll at the end of the day.
One of the more difficult parts as well is that when the bikes start off in the morning, there's no tracks whatsoever. So, you know, they've got to find the way. When the cars come along, already 100 or 200 bikes have been through there. So that does make also a significant difference to the race. And they've got a windscreen.
So what you're saying is that it's unfair. The guys on the cars have got tracks to follow, plus a navigator. You've got to do it all yourself.
And the driver can focus on driving, and the navigator can focus on navigating. Where the motorcycles, he needs to do both and make sure he doesn't fall off.
Well, okay, that's doing 2 things, riding and navigating. I'd like to bring Brett in here. Brett, you competed in what's called the Moto class, which I like to call the Moto class, because you guys do everything yourselves. Just explain to us exactly what does it mean to compete in that class, and how is it different from the other guys in the big teams?
Well, you're not allowed any outside assistance, so you look after yourself, you put your own tent up, and you basically service and maintain your bike. If you damage your bike, you've obviously got to repair it yourself, and yeah, it makes your day that much longer. That if you do have any problems throughout the race, it generally puts you back, and the only thing that you sacrifice at the end of the day is your hours of sleep.
So what happens is, Brett, the Dakar waits for no one. I mean, it's a wheel that turns, a schedule, the clock is ticking, and you're saying you're falling behind, losing sleep. So how different is it for you guys compared to Rian, who's further up in the field? You're on completely different timing zones almost for the day. I mean, you start 2-3 hours late, and you arrive in the bivouac how much later?
Well, I'm not really sure how much later I arrived, but I think he started about 20 minutes, 30 minutes ahead of me each day. It varied depending on the previous race, the race stage, and it's just, you know, it knocks on that much longer. This year's race was a lot slower or slowed down, and the stages were a lot longer. So we ended up getting in at 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. And as I said, the only thing that suffers is your sleep.
Okay, so Brett, you running a little bit further down the field, run in the top 10, 20, or top 5 even on some of the stages. You come in early into the bivouac. Then, Daryl, what happens then? I mean, as a semi-works or factory team, what happens when he gets into the bivouac?
Rian will come give his bike to the mechanics, and it's totally professional. There's a guy that looks after the engine. He'll come service all the engines. There's a guy that checks the electrics. There's a guy that does the wheels. The mechanic goes through the bike meticulously. Every single element of that bike is done for him. Then he goes back to the camper and he starts looking at his road book, which takes 2 or 3 hours. Maybe Rian, you
That's
can tell
what
us
you
a
do
little
at
bit
this
about
point when they look at the bike.
Tell us a little bit more about your road book and how long involved that is.
Yeah, so basically when I arrive in the bivouac in the afternoon, I sort myself out, I go for a shower, I have something to eat, and I get stuck into my road book straight away. I often see Brett come in, an hour and a half or whatever, a little bit later. I feel sorry because I'm already halfway through my road book, and then only he comes in and still needs to sort himself out. But the road book is quite intense for me. I try and paint a picture for myself going through the road book. When you leave the main roads, when you go into rivers, when you're exiting rivers, and when you make directional changes. It's quite key notes in your road book, and if you miss those things, you can get lost.
So while you're doing all of this, you might still be on the stage coming in late, and then you have to service your own bike. That's the big difference. You've got a whole competitive or professional team looking after the bikes. You've got to do everything yourself.
Yeah, basically you come in at the end of the stage and you park your bike, you get your kit off, put your tent up and let your kit out dry out for a bit, and then go for a shower because it's normally a little bit too hot that time of the day, even though it's 7 o'clock in the evening. The sun only goes down at 9 to start working on your bike. You go for a shower, you get a couple of other things out the way, and come back when it's a bit cooler and start working on your bike, and then rider's briefing, go and eat, do your road book, and you're not getting to bed before 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Dave, are you happy or sad that you missed most of this? I mean, you did the 3 days, but it doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah, I think it depends on your makeup. I've been riding a long time, and so it's. I know all of us here, we actually love it. You become so passionate about it. And I actually hang around. After my 3 days, I stayed there with my team. We had an RV, so we all sort of lived in the RV for the rest of the trip. And I find it very, very frustrating. My passion
Not to be able to
my
to
passion
join
is to be on the bike, and that's what I like to do. So
I take it myself, being a racer, I can also relate to Dave going there and putting all the effort in and getting all the money from the sponsors and doing the 3 days. And myself as well, I had to change my mindset to going, okay, I'm actually there for a media and a marketing purpose, but not being able to ride myself is also, it's got a massive impact on you, and you've got to adjust your way of thinking.
Well, you guys are obviously a different breed, so I just want to get back to Brett quickly. Tell us your longest day. What your longest day, how bad was that? How tough is it mentally and physically?
I think physically the longest day for me was stage 5. There was a lot of chaos and a really tough section through soft dunes that really took its toll. I literally felt as though I couldn't go anymore, but if you stopped, your head felt like it was going to explode. The temperatures were so high. And by the time I got to the end of that stage, they'd fortunately cancelled the second part of that stage, and it was such a relief, even though we still had another 250 or 300 Ks on a liaison to get back to the bivouac. But that night I ended up forcing myself to go to the medic's tent and put myself on a drip because it was just like a compound effect. The stages didn't get any easier. Last year we had like one really hard stage and then not too bad, and it sort of varied itself. And this year it just got harder and harder and harder. And like stage 5 was a really, really difficult stage.
I actually saw him just after he came in. I walked up towards him and I said, "Dudo, you're right." And you know that saying, the lights are on but no one's home? He was that knackered.
I think to get back to that, the first 5 stages in Dakar this year was really tough. So obviously 5 days takes its toll. And the main reason for them cancelling the half of stage 5 was due to the heat. I think they were reaching 45 to 48 degrees in the desert, and it wasn't safe for the competitors to go through there. And that was the main reason. They had bikes hitting a light that day because I think 2 or 3 bikes had burned out and some cars. So definitely take its toll up to day 5.
And then on top of that, you throw into the mix crossing the Andes Mountains at 5,000 meters. I mean, that can't be fun.
Yeah, this year was a little bit different. We didn't have a liaison crossing the Andes, so we went into Bolivia. For 2 days, we went an average of 3,500 meters, and I think all competitors suffered from headaches, and you lose a little bit of concentration, and it wasn't that easy to concentrate for 2 days. But you deal with it, and we all got through it.
Guys, I have to ask you, anyone can answer this question. There is a lady rider by the name of Laia Sans, who I think finished 14th or 15th, not too far behind you. How big is her, whatever it is that makes her brave? This chick must really be good.
Yeah, she was very impressive. I mean, she's done a couple of Dakars. She's also couple of won a couple of world championships and trials. But overall, she's a very good rider. I always say the lady has got an advantage. They seem to claim that they can do 2 things at once. She can navigate and ride at the same time. I can either do one, either go ride or navigate. So, yeah, she definitely has an advantage.
She's
Multitasking.
She's very special, and she's actually a really nice person. You get to know her.
I believe so.
But she rides very well.
I got to ask you, how good is Cyril Dupre and Mark Coma, those 2 guys, really? I mean, we all know that when they're both in the rally, they are going to be the ones competing for the win, but how good are they really?
Yeah, in my opinion, in short answer, experience. They have got lots of experience. They've done over 150 rallies each over the past 10 years. It definitely helps. It's like anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And it helps that they're good riders. Don't take that away. They're exceptionally good riders. But the whole package is what makes them that good. And they definitely have that package to win races.
Now, I'm sure that you guys feel that you've also got the pace and the sheer speed to keep up with these guys. But what will it take to, over a period of 14 days, Brett, if I can ask you, to up your pace and maybe get higher to the top rankings?
For me personally, I think if I'd run with a better team or with a team to service the bike, I was a lot more prepared this year, and I was focused to do a lot better. But being in the Malmoto camp made it a lot more difficult. And obviously, as Riaan says, experience is priceless. It counts for everything.
Dave, from your side, I guess you want to go back and tick it off as something completed. Is that the plan?
Yeah, mate. On my side, I'm pretty confident I can run in the top 20. So yeah, there's a big monkey sitting here, so I've got to sort it out. And the problem is finance. I mean, for all of us, I'm really lucky. I've got some really good sponsors, Jacaranda Plant and Machinery Hire in Zambia, and some others. And but it's it could be my 3rd time. Will I be able to raise the funds again? I don't know. It's a lot of money.
Brett, from your side, if you go back, I'm sure you will, but stay in the Malmoto class, or hopefully join these guys in a team where other people can do the work for you.
Yeah, the Malmoto's got a different sensation. You get quite a bit of recognition for doing it, and it's nice. But I'd like to go back if I had to. Same sort of issue with regards to sponsors. The guys have been really helpful over the last 2 years, but to go back a 3rd time is a tall order. So to go back with a team would be awesome.
Riaan, your side, top 10 next year, or hopefully even higher?
Yeah, the aim is top 10, but I need to do a little bit more training, especially on navigation and riding. I know what I need to do to get there, and I'm definitely going to work towards that.
And from your side, Daryl, I'm sure you've already got plans in place to get the team there next year again.
Yeah, most definitely. We've been building the team up over the last 2 years, and the idea is to get more South Africans into the Dakar and to get Riaan into the top 10. And the way we're going to do that is to go and do more of the World Rally Championship rounds, and we're looking at Qatar and Abu Dhabi early in the year, Rally of Morocco towards the end of the year, and then Dakar. Bearing in mind, Riaan's only done 2 Dakars and about 5 rallies in total, but he's got a head for orientation and navigation, and that's his strong point. The speed is there. To be able to do both things at the same time is really difficult.
Guys, respect. I don't think anyone out there really understands what it takes, so thank you for giving us that insight. And after the break, we are switching gear a bit, and we are chatting to Hyundai, who recently announced their bid to take on the 2014 World Rally Championship.